Hello, friends. Welcome back to The Authentic Path. I'm Dr. Vanessa Calderon, and I'm so excited to have you here. All right, so this week, if you are listening from the United States, you know we are moving into Thanksgiving, a huge holiday here. And I want to talk about something that is incredibly simple, also very powerful, and in my experience can feel like a type of magic. And that is gratitude. Now, before you roll your eyes or think, yeah, I already know everything about gratitude, stay with me because what we're going to dive into today isn't just the fluffy ideas around it. It's really diving into the science and the energy and everything behind it. And really talking about why it is incredibly powerful, how it rewires our brain, and how it amplifies what we really want in life, including good health, abundance, wealth, all those types of things. And I'm also going to chat about why that even though it's so simple, why most people never turn this into a daily practice. Okay, so we're going to talk about why gratitude matters, how we can create more of what we want, including abundance and wealth with gratitude. And I'm going to talk about how to actually sustain the habits around gratitude, how to create some simple and effective habits around gratitude. Okay, so let's start with why gratitude matters. Okay, so in the Western world, gratitude is one of the most researched positive emotions. And I want to be very clear that gratitude is not unique to the Western world. In fact, it's something that's been around for centuries and centuries. Our ancestors have been practicing gratitude forever, being in right relationship with the earth, being grateful for what we have around us. That's beautiful. That's not something that is unique to the Western world. Although the Western world loves to do what it does, which is prove what we've been practicing for centuries through science. And so it has been researched in positive psychology. And we know that people who practice gratitude sleep better, have stronger immune systems, have lower blood pressure, report higher levels of joy and optimism. And there are many ways to practice gratitude. And in one study, participants who wrote down 3 things that they were grateful for simply 21 days reported 25% greater levels of happiness compared to folks that didn't. That's pretty significant. And it didn't require a single external change. You didn't buy anything new. You didn't have to do anything different. You just had to notice what you were grateful for around you. Now, here's where it gets super interesting and really fascinating, especially for all of you listening, for folks that are professionals, folks that are leaders, entrepreneurs. Gratitude also activates the brain's reward centers, the brain's reward and motivation centers, particularly around the VTA, the ventral tegmental area. So these are the same exact areas that light up for us when we experience pleasure around achieving a goal, for example. So, when you achieve a goal, you might get a dopamine high. And when you express gratitude, your brain releases the same feel-good hormones, the same dopamine, and also serotonin. So serotonin is also a feel-good hormone, and it lasts much longer in our body than dopamine does. It's why most antidepressants they target serotonin. They're serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs is what they're called. And the way they work is they allow serotonin to circulate in our bodies longer, and it helps us feel good longer. So it's not the same increase, the hike that dopamine gives us, and then the quick release. Serotonin lasts longer, which really supports us increasing our basal levels of positivity and resilience. There's an author, his name is Sean Aker. He wrote a book called The Happiness Advantage. And I remember reading this book a very long time ago after watching his TED Talk. And it shares a lot of the things that we already know. But what I thought was super cool is that he sort of linked happiness to also teams and businesses, so that when teams or individuals begin meetings with simple gratitude reflections. So let's say you're leading a team and you start your department meeting or your meeting with what you're grateful for. And I remember when I was a department chair in the emergency department, I would start every department meeting with, I would call them a caring moment. So somebody would reflect on something that they were grateful for. Either it was a good catch in the department, some like EMS did something that we were grateful for. We shared a reflection about a nurse, but something that shifted the way we thought to our culture of caring, that we were here to care for patients. similar to this. So when you start a meeting with a gratitude reflection, you start to see improvement in engagement, creativity, and collaboration. Why is that? Because when you start with gratitude, it shifts your brain to think towards positive instead of negative or neutral. And when your brain is leaning towards positive, it improves our ability to problem solve, to be more creative, to collaborate. His research, this is Sean Aker again, the writer of the book, The Happiness Advantage. He was a student at Harvard, and his research showed that optimism and gratitude, it comes before success. A lot of people think it's the other way around, that we work really, really hard, then we experience a level of success, and then we can be grateful. But actually, again, this is not surprising to any of you who are listening to this, because I talk about this a lot, that if you can feel gratitude first and optimism first, it's much easier to then experience success. So successful people, they don't become grateful after they're successful. It's the gratitude that creates the success. And this is similar to the link between gratitude and abundance. So the link between gratitude and abundance is fascinating. That one of the highest frequencies of abundance and wealth is gratitude, because gratitude shifts your focus away from what is missing, from what you're lacking, from the scarcity to what is present around us, to what is in abundance, to what we're grateful for. And neurologically, what we focus on will expand. So there's a part of our brain, it's called the reticular activating system, the RAS. And when you consistently practice gratitude, you get to train the RAS, the RAS, the reticular activating system. It's the part of our brain that filters out certain things around us. And what it's doing is, because there's so many stimuli around us, the RAS is trying to filter for only the things that we need, only what we need to support us in being effective and achieving what we want to achieve. It's the same thing that's responsible for, let's say you want to buy a red car. And so you start looking for red cars online, and all of a sudden you start seeing red cars everywhere, because now the RAS is filtering in red cars because that's what you care about. So when you consistently focus on what you want, the RAS makes it possible for you to create that for yourself. So when you consistently focus on gratitude, the RAS makes it possible for you to create more abundance. So when you begin your day acknowledging what is good, what's already working, the brain starts scanning for more of it. So I get up every morning and I give thanks. I'm so grateful for another day. That's how I start my day. And then I create my intention. What is it that I want to create today? My intention today is to be the fullest authentic expression of myself, for example. So this, by the way, is not magical thinking. This is neuroplasticity. This is how the brain works. It is really, really powerful when you start to know how our brain works, and you can start using the way the brain already works to serve you, so that you can start creating what you want in the world using the brain's own, like, this is neuroplasticity. The brain is plastic. The brain shifts, shapes, molds based on what we feed it. Feed it gratitude, create more abundance. And from that energetic standpoint, gratitude carries a vibration of attraction. And when you live from gratitude, you align yourself with the energy of sufficiency, of enoughness, which naturally magnetizes more opportunities, more connection, more abundance. It's really powerful. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper here. Now, I say everything is energy. I say that a lot. If you're still confused on what that means, I'm going to give you a quick science lesson. So the basic building block of anything around here is an atom. An atom. Every atom, when you get a bunch of atoms together, they create molecules. Okay, so carbon dioxide, hydrogen, nitrogen, iron, and everything is created from one of those molecules. Okay, so, but those atoms are created with, get the inside of the atom, the nucleus has energy inside of it, neutrons, electrons, and protons. And those carry energetic frequencies. That's energy. So everything around you, the tree, the table, this microphone I'm speaking into, for example, it all carries energy. Now, Dr. David Hawkins, he created this map of what's called a map of consciousness. And I really love that what he did. What he did is he measured the vibrational frequency of different sensations in our body that we've labeled as emotions. For example, shame or anger or gratitude. And what he does in his map of consciousness is he shows how different emotions vibrate differently and carry different energetic frequencies. So you're not going to be surprised here, but I'll just tell you that there are low vibrational frequencies. When people say they're low vibe, you've heard people say high vibe, low vibrational frequencies. So a low vibrational frequency emotion are things like shame and guilt. They vibrate pretty low, like 20 to 30 hertz. So it's very low, very constricting. Now there's anger, which vibrates a little higher, but still lower on the spectrum, which is 150 hertz. It mobilizes energy, but it's still constrictive, which is why it's easier for you to do something when you're feeling angry versus when you're feeling depressed, because depression is lower on the frequency scale. Okay, but now high frequency emotions are like gratitude, love, and joy. In fact, joy is the highest frequency emotion that we can measure. It's at about 550 hertz. 540 hertz. But gratitude and love are right behind it, anywhere between 500 and 540. So gratitude, love, and joy are the highest frequency emotions that we can carry. Now, when you think about that, and you think about how high vibe you would be vibing if you're experiencing gratitude, it's like no wonder people that experience gratitude are feeling so like vibrant and happy, because when you are in gratitude, your heart's electromagnetic field. Now, I've talked about the heart's electromagnetic field before. So the heart has an electromagnetic field. The heart itself is electricity. That's how we measure the heart, through an electrocardiogram, an EKG. It measures the heart, it's electricity. But we also know that the heart has an electromagnetic field that expands outside of it, about anywhere up to at least 3 feet around. And that's measured by heart coherence studies from the HeartMath Institute. This means that when you are experiencing gratitude, your heart's electromagnetic field will expand and your body becomes more coherent and more balanced. You're calmer, you're more compassionate, and your coherence radiates outwards. It influences others. It's whenever you think about people that can co-regulate with someone else. So if somebody walks into the room and all of a sudden you just feel so good or so calm, or like their energy just affects you in such a good way, that is their electromagnetic field expanding outwards. So a lot of people can just co-regulate their nervous system by being around other people. This is how it works. So the coherence radiates outward, influences others. And so gratitude, when you experience that, it's not just for you. Turns out it's collective. It's like collective wellness practice, because it's contagious. So if you are a leader, for example, and you're practicing gratitude, it's going to affect the team around you, the psychological safety of the team, the sense of abundance, the team dynamics, all of that will shift. If you are a parent experiencing gratitude, same thing. Your kids are going to be able to, that's going to bleed into your kids. It's a really beautiful, it's a very beautiful emotion, super powerful. Okay, so gratitude is simple and it is highly effective. So here's the paradox. Even though it is simple and one of the simplest tools for transformation, few people actually practice it and choose to practice it and choose to sustain it. Why is that? This is because our brains are wired to have a negativity bias. What does that mean? It means that our brains are scanning the world around us for something wrong to happen to us every 5 to 7 seconds. That makes sense because if you think about evolutionary wise, we needed to make sure that we were always safe. And so our brains are always looking for something negative. So we are looking for something negative 5 times more than we are looking for something positive. And not just that when something negative does happen to us, it sticks to us. It sticks to us like Velcro, because we don't want to, think about it, back in the day, if you ate a poisonous berry and got really sick and started vomiting, you did not want to eat that poisonous berry again. So you would never forget which berries were poisonous. Now, let's say that you ate a delicious berry. All right, well, whatever, you get another delicious berry another day. So it's like the carrot and stick analogy. If you missed a carrot one day, no big deal, get the carrot the next day. If you got the stick, your life might be in danger. So our brains are wired for negativity, which is why gratitude is so difficult. It's not the default mode for our brain. So we need to teach it to be the default mode. We need to train it to be the default mode, because even though our brains are wired for negativity, most of us are pretty safe and our brains are still wired for negativity. So we get to train our brain away from that negativity bias to view the world with its compassion, with kindness, with gratitude. We get to do that. So how do we do that? All right, so that's what we're going to talk about. And the reason why this matters, again, is because when we experience gratitude, and again, those feel-good hormones rise, dopamine, serotonin, those things will rise. But dopamine, for example, dopamine has this, it's like this habituation effect. And what I mean by that is when we experience dopamine, it'll rise, but it'll decrease quickly. And without variety or without depth, the dopamine will fade. So it's no longer going to rise at the same level. So if we're doing something like some just generic gratitude list every time before you go to bed, I'm grateful for another day, I'm grateful to sleep, I'm grateful to whatever, the same thing every day, after a while, it loses its effect. So what you want to do is you want to be specific and you want to actually allow your body to feel the gratitude. So not just writing, I'm grateful for my family, but really pausing to feel your child's laughter or the warmth of your partner in the morning or whatever it is that you're grateful for. And you want to make sure that you're ritualizing it. So gratitude isn't meant to just be a one-time mental note. It's meant to be a way of life. So at our house, for example, at dinner, we go around and we talk about what we're grateful for that one specific day, and we call it our rose. What was your rose for today? What's the one thing you're grateful for? And I love this practice. I do it with our kids on our way to a vacation, on the way home from a vacation, before we go to bed at night. I just think it's so beautiful to infuse our bodies, our minds, our home with gratitude. It just feels so good. Not just on Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving's a great time to talk about it because we're giving thanks. But really, you can use this as a practice all of the time. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few gratitude practices that you can adopt into your life. All of them are simple. They don't take a lot of time, but they're incredibly transformative. So choose the ones that resonate with you. Okay, here's the morning gratitude. So I said this at the beginning. So I wake up every morning, I put my hands over my heart and I pause there and I just give thanks. Grateful for another day. I'm grateful for the sunlight coming in through my window. I'm grateful for my cozy pajamas. I look over at my husband. I'm grateful for this big hunk that I get to spend my life with, or whatever it is. And you really want to feel it. The reason why I put my hands over my heart, that's a self-compassion exercise. When you leave your hands over your heart for at least 10 to 20 seconds, it secretes oxytocin. Oxytocin is a feel-good hormone. It's the same hormone that's secreted when mothers have a baby. It allows bonding. So think about that intimacy that you are creating with yourself. So before I do anything else, I turn off my alarm. I don't check my email. I don't open any social media. I turn off my alarm and then I lie there for just a second, just a minute, and I say what I'm grateful for before I get out of bed. So that's the first morning gratitude practice. Okay, notice how simple that is. Takes a minute max. The second is an evening gratitude reflection. So I actually do this as well. I have a practice. So I start every morning with that gratitude, but I have a closing practice. I like to close my days feeling complete, feeling like if this was the last day of my life, I feel complete. And so I think about when I go to bed, what would complete my day? And I like to just reflect on my day and then just really think about what I'm grateful for. And then I also include, this is different than the gratitude, but I'm just going to share this with you in case it resonates with anyone or if any of you want to practice. I include magical moments. So I love to look around for the synchronicities, the way the universe kind of communicates with me and talks to me and shares with me. Maybe it was a song that I got in the middle of the day. Maybe I was thinking about a problem and all of a sudden a friend called me. So anything like that happened, I just write down those, I call them magic moments. So in my evening gratitude reflection, I have a journal and I just sit there and I just think about, okay, what am I grateful for today? And I come up with at least 3 things I'm grateful for. They have to be different than yesterday. They don't have to be big, but again, your brain wants something new, not the same thing every time, and it doesn't have to be big. So the small little things as well. And then again, any magic moments. So that's my morning and my evening. And then I mentioned what we do at dinner with my family. So you can do this at dinner with your significant other or your family. If you have a family, you go around and talk about what it is you're grateful for. Just one thing, super simple. Just has to be different than yesterday. If you are a leader, you're leading teams, gratitude and leadership is huge. So start your meetings with a moment of gratitude or end your meetings with a moment of gratitude. And we've seen research to show that when employees receive recognition or gratitude at least once a week, their productivity goes up. No surprise, because they're more engaged. They're 60% more engaged and 30% more productive by just experiencing a little bit of acknowledgement and gratitude once a week. Gratitude in relationships. This one's really important. You likely love your significant other, your partner, your children, and we don't often let them know how much they mean to us as much as we should. So if you just think about how simple it could be to say thank you, if they started the pot of coffee in the morning, hey, thanks so much for starting the pot of coffee. Those simple little things, if you're giving them more thank yous than nagging them or giving them like the criticism, 5 to 1 more moments of gratitude, of expressing gratitude to them directly, you're going to start to notice how your relationship transforms. That acknowledgement, it creates this really beautiful, deep connection, and then it reinforces the sense of trust. And then they love to feel it, whether or not they say it or not, they like to feel it. So they're going to continue to do it. It's really powerful. And here's one last one that I really love to do. It's a mindfulness walk. And in the mindfulness walk, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, once a week, at least. Go out for a walk, 5-10 minutes, it could be short. And all you want to do is walk silently. You don't have to put anything in your ears. You don't have to listen to anything. Just walk silently and start like naming to yourself what you're thankful for. I'm thankful for my breath. I'm thankful for my healthy body that I can go out for a walk. I'm thankful for these beautiful trees. I'm thankful for the clean air that I can breathe. I'm thankful for that beautiful hawk that I see flying. This combines both mindfulness with somatic regulation and gratitude. Beautiful practices. All right, sweet friends, as you gather with your loved ones for Thanksgiving, remember that gratitude isn't something we just get to practice over the holidays. It's really a beautiful spiritual technology that we've had around for centuries, that has been passed down from generation to generation, that we know works, and it rewires our brain, our bodies, it raises our frequency, our vibration, and it opens the door to much more abundance than we could ever imagine. And the best part is you don't need anything. You already have everything you need to begin. So my invitation to you is just try it for yourself. For the next 7 days, maybe just start your day with gratitude or end your day with gratitude, or maybe start and end your day with gratitude, and just start to notice what changes for you, what unfolds. Because gratitude doesn't just change your day, it really changes your reality, your perception, the way you start to see the world around you. All right, sweet friends, sending you all so much love. Happy gathering for all of you that are gathering with friends and family this week. I'm sending you all so much love. Until next time, adios.